So of course the next question you might be asking yourself is, why would we use phasors in electromagnetics or anywhere in electrical engineering? And that's because it helps us to solve more complex circuits such as this one. However, to see this, let's start out with a very basic circuit, probably one of the first circuits that you ever saw. Now, if we have a voltage source and it's sinusoidal, in the previous video we saw how to convert this between sine and cosine. But if you have it as a sine wave, a sinusoidal source, and you have some sinusoidal voltage source, it's going through a resistor, you'll get a sinusoidal current. Now, we know from Ohm's law that you might be able to rearrange this and solve for that current. And if you did that, you would quickly see that you could indeed solve for that current, but both the voltage and the current are going to have this same trigonometric function. And that's kind of a long trigonometric function to write. It's sort of inconvenient, and we would like to maybe not write this every time. We might be able to enjoy being able to eliminate this from our solution by realizing that this same frequency sinusoid is going to come up repeatedly in a problem. So the reason that we might want to try to remove that trigonometric function is because if you were to make it even more complex, your circuit more complex, let's say you added a capacitor. Now, once you add the capacitor, you can see that the capacitor is going to have a voltage across it that is a function of that same sinusoidal current. But now we're doing some integration. But we know even if we do that integration, we know even if we integrate this sine wave, that we're going to have another wave, a cosine wave that we could write, and it would have this same frequency dependency. And so because circuits can get much more complex than this, and as they get more complex, you might have a lot of these time-dependent functions that rely on a similar wave with the same frequency. We want to use phasors to see if we can get away from rewriting this over and over and see if we can solve some problems without having to deal with this same frequency-dependent component that appears over and over. And so this is the reason why we want to use phasors in electrical engineering and also in electromagnetics.